The Amazing Day Challenge was a day where we were given a couple of challenges to successfully accomplish. Each challenge was located in a different area worth a different amount of points. What this was doing was basically testing and challenging our abilities to allow us to incorporate a variety of skills which we adopted throughout this unit.
Our amazing race began with our most difficult task of the day, traffic jam. This activity began with our main group splitting into two teams, A and B. Both groups must then line up vertically, one behind each other, facing the other group, leaving one free space between the groups, with the goal to get side A to side B and side B to side A, all facing forward. During this activity, teams cannot move backwards, cannot share spots, cannot jump with your own teammate, and only one person can move at the same time. If these rules are broken, the group must start again. Unfortunately, to our detriment, we decided to go straight into the task without any planning, which was not a bright idea. After struggling for 10 minutes, we finally decided to split back into our groups A and B and try and complete it within a smaller team, 6 rather than 12. After breaking down the task, we allocated a team leader who put their ideas forward to the group, and then into practice via sand and sticks. Once the first team had worked out their intended strategy, we then regrouped as one large group and implemented the strategy. Slowly but surely, the task was completed. It was only once we split the task down and allocated a leader where we were able to complete the job. The only problem that we encountered with this task is that not everybody could voice their opinion, as there would be too many ideas going around at once, and it would lead to a lack of group cohesion and confusion surrounding the task.
The objective of our next challenge was to see how many people we could fit on one paddleboard. The rules were we weren't allowed to touch the bottom and had to remain on the board for 5 seconds for it to count. In the end, both teams managed to fit everyone on the board. For this to happen, everybody needed to know their roles and responsibilities. Because the challenge required the whole team effort, for the best outcome, the effect of social loafing was minimized while simultaneously improving group cohesion. Because if one person wasn't trying, everybody would then fall in. Groups successfully performed the challenge, took the time to plan what was the most stable way to fit people on the board first, and then attempted to load more and more people on. Sat down with legs either side of the board worked best.
For the Toxic Waste Challenge, we were split into two teams. Each team had to carry a bucket full of water over to the river. We weren't allowed to touch the bucket with our hands, and we had to stay outside the original square border to pick it up. The ropes were used to hoist the bucket up, and we had to coordinate moving it from the starting point to the water, which was a distance of about 25 metres. The team that was successful in completing the challenge managed 2 attempts in the time given. On the first attempt, they only used 2 people carrying a bucket towards the water, but they didn't get very far. The second attempt involved the same tactic, but they made it all the way to the water at a much slower pace. The unsuccessful team managed to carry their bucket over to the sand just before the water, where it slipped out of the ropes and fell. The unsuccessful team opted to carry the bucket with all of the team members holding onto the rope. The increased number of forces that were being applied on the rope and bucket prevented the bucket from staying stable within the ropes. The victorious team used only 2 people to carry the bucket and therefore simplified their manoeuvre. The take-home lesson from this challenge was that sometimes it pays to simplify and delegate. The successful team spent more time than the unsuccessful team brainstorming and delegating. The smaller amount of carriers helped to simplify the challenge and eventually led to success. When too many people were working on such a simple task, the extra energy and perspectives worked against the other team. From this challenge, we learned the importance of different kinds of leadership roles and the importance of delegating roles to fit different skill sets.
Hi everyone, today we're talking about the types of learning styles and leadership styles.
Different types of learning styles include visual, auditory and kinesthetic. Visual learners prefer learning by the use of images. Auditory learners best understand new content through speaking in situations such as group discussions. and kinesthetic is where students best understand information through tactile presentations of information. These students are hands-on learners.
So our group were predominantly visual and kinesthetic learners. However, at the beginning of most challenges, we reverted to verbally talking about the challenge, which was good at generating ideas, but it didn't really reinforce understanding or get us any closer to actually figuring out the challenges. To facilitate our understanding, many tasks we performed through microscaling it. So we figured out a challenge, for example, the traffic light challenge, where you had to move everybody. We figured that out with six sticks in the sand to figure that out. That made it a lot more visual and a lot more kinesthetic, so we could learn from our mistakes, make mistakes, but still complete the challenge. Considering all our team members had the same learning style, it did increase our team cohesion as it made it easier for everybody to communicate. We also broke up into smaller teams, which allowed individuals to contribute and ensuring everybody contributed to the outcome.
Some leadership styles may include laissez-faire, transactional and transformational. Laissez-faire is a hands-off leadership style that puts all members of the team in control. This type of leadership is ideal for self-motivated teams. In laissez-faire leadership, a leader provides very little guidance to their team. Instead, they trust that their team understands their own roles and will be able to perform their best. This type of leadership is often considered the least productive when it is improperly applied. Transactional leadership is where the objective and goals are predefined and the leader uses reward and punishment to motivate their team. This form of leadership can have great effect on many individuals as it values both order and structure, which can often deliver results. Transactional leadership has only one leader in the group who uses their authority and responsibility as their power. And lastly, transformational leadership is where the leader uses his influencing power and enthusiasm to motivate his team to work. The leader acts as a role model and a motivator who offers vision, excitement, encouragement, moral and satisfaction.
Cool, so our group never really reached a stage where we had a designated leader. Different members stood up given different challenges, whether they had experience in that challenge or they had knowledge that would assist with the challenge. This really depicts the foundation of what transformational leadership is within the environment. That meant that everybody was a leader at some point in time. This could be seen as well as we collectively as a group decided how we were going to attack a challenge, and then one person would kind of facilitate the actual doing of that challenge. An example of this was demonstrated when we had to get as many members on one SUP board. We discussed how we were going to do it, and then one person was in charge of delegating, what timing of when somebody got on the board, etc. The group cohesion was increased and we became united as everyone contributed once again, and because everybody had the chance to step up and be a leader, it kind of everybody got a respect for everybody else as they stood up to the challenge.
So we're going to be talking about qualities of good leaders. So things like positivity, as this reduces conflict and enhances closeness, as well as things like extrovertedness, as this makes it easier to form relationships. Things also like self-awareness, which is the ability to recognize and understand your emotions. Open-mindedness, as this allows for discussion, flexibility, opinion and experimenting. Also things like motivation, as it is the passion for achievement. Also commitment, respect and focus. So leaders emerge in many different situations. Extroversion is closely related to leader emergence, as well as openness and conscientiousness. Leader attributes that we had within our group was open-mindedness, so everyone was very open to experimenting and trying different people's ideas. Also, we had a lot of extroverted individuals, which made it easier to form bonds quickly. Things like agreeableness, we agreed with each other's opinions a lot. We were conscientious, we were focused on the tasks, and we were determined to do our best at all the tasks we had.
So how these contributed positively or negatively to our group development, cohesion, conflicts and goal achievement. So the extrovertedness quickly formed relationships, so we weren't stuck in the awkward stage for very long. Respect made for a comfortable atmosphere, which made us able to overcome conflicts easily. Open-mindedness, everyone was comfortable enough to put in their ideas, which prevented conflicts from occurring and it made us achieve our tasks really quickly. Positivity prevented conflict. Open-mindedness created good group cohesion as everybody was able to put in their ideas comfortably, and motivated, so we're a group that really likes to achieve our goals. The negative part of this is that some people didn't get to put in their ideas as they were overshadowed by the extroverted people, as most people were.
Self-awareness is the ability to reflect upon your own impact of the group, as well as your strengths and limitations. This is important for the communication and the performance of the group, and how well you actually understand yourself and the group can be explained by the Johari's window, that is a model consisting of 4 different quadrants. The bigger the open window, as the information that you know and also the group knows, the better the performance of the group. And I think that we can all agree that we now understand our abilities better than we did in the beginning of this unit. We're more self-aware and therefore we perform better in exercises.
Self-development can be achieved by a number of different models, but the one I'll be focusing on today is the Big 5 model by McRae and Costa in 1997. So firstly we have agreeableness, which is the ability to have a positive view internally and externally when opposing and doing all tasks. The next is conscientiousness, which is the ability to step away from a task if it's too crowded. So I did this in the traffic jam and went onto the sand and started drawing my own possible solutions and then handed it back to the group. Next we have openness to experience, which is the ability to accept and also encourage other peers to give possible solutions to the task. Then we have extroversion, and this came about as I became more comfortable with the group and knowing that all my peers would accept my opinions and possible solutions to any task. And finally we have neuroticism, which is when a task is a bit too difficult, and often this happens in the first couple of weeks when there was a lack of communication, which resulted in me feeling a bit overwhelmed with everyone's possible solutions. But this has then died down, and by the end of this semester we have all been able to communicate much better.
Compared to week 1, we were much more comfortable communicating with each other. We mainly followed the strength-based teamwork model, which consists of knowing each other's strengths and weaknesses in order to complete the task successfully. The traffic stop challenge provided us with the best opportunity to develop as a team and become a better group. It was time-consuming as well as thought-provoking, however we solved it through trial and error as well as being creative. We were able to reflect on our newfound skills in order to solve challenges in the future.
Distributed. We were both competing to carry this bucket full of water over to the other water. Other to carry the bucket of water over to... What do I say there?
Compared to week 1, we were much more comfortable communicating. I can't say communicating. Okay.